I am Mackenzie Henson. This is Management 493. It is July 8th, 2026, and this is Honda Rover Creating an Alliance is the topic I picked, and we will be discussing the Honda Rover alliance that happened in the 80s and 90s. So first I have some company background. Honda is a Japanese automaker, so foreign automaker. They were known for their quality and reliability. They were also very efficient in their manufacturing, and a big thing they wanted to do was to expand to Europe. Now Rover, on the other hand, is a British automaker, so local to the UK, but they had huge financial struggles within their company, and their lineup was just getting old. They had nothing new coming out, nothing to kind of join the market and help them create a competitive advantage. They needed some new technology and investments and improvements within their company and within their products at the time. So this is kind of why Rover needed an allowance. They were going through big financial losses. Like I said, they were not creating anything new. They were not selling a lot of stuff because there was so many different things in the market that you could buy instead of just a Rover. Had low productivity. Their manufacturing just wasn't good. They were not putting out as much as they should. Outdated resources. This could contribute to the low productivity too. If everything that you're making is outdated and not new, of course you're still not going to sell anything. They had declining market shares. Nobody was investing in a company that's, once again, not creating anything new and not bringing something new to the table. They had strong competition. You have to think there's so many car companies out there that kind of dominate, like Honda, Ford, Toyota. Like, you have all these companies competing, and when you're not making anything new, once again, you're going to lose. And they had limited resources to try to even make anything new. So limited resources for development. So really, even if they wanted to make new things, they kind of couldn't. Why did they pick Honda? Honda has great engineering. They were in a really good financial position. They were in the position where they could invest in Rover. They would be able to share the financial cost with Rover, and they were a modern manufacturer. So everything that we complained about on the previous slide can be answered by Honda. I mean, like I said, they didn't have the investments they needed. They were in a bad spot financially. So this is kind of the whole package for Rover. But then you have to ask why Honda was attracted to Rover. Because what's Honda going to get out of this? They had access to Europe. They had manufacturing in the UK, which are two very big things, because if you're, trying to enter a foreign market, it's very hard, and collabing with a company gets your foot right in the door of what you need to do. They already had an established network in the UK, like we're talking about. They knew their customer base, better understanding, and avoid trade barriers. So all these, they're kind of under one thing of Honda wanting to break into the UK and not just be a Japanese manufacturer, to expand their company into other countries. And the easiest way to do this, instead of going through trade barriers and trying to figure out your company, is just to invest in a company that already has that set up for them. Um, Here's some kind of the agreements and challenges they had when they did create an alliance. Joint development was actually very good. Um, they were able to develop vehicles very well together. They were able to share technology, and engines and technology are two very big parts of vehicles. So being able to share that information that they have with each other and create is very good. Their manufacturing and management collaboration was pretty good. They were turning things over very fast and getting it done together. But they did have some challenges, and the biggest challenge is a different corporate cultures, which we know is huge in management, which leads to other problems such as communication barriers and different management styles. If you can't agree with each other, then nothing can really get done. And if you don't understand each other's culture and how each company works, then you'll never come together as a whole. They also had unequal dependence, so Rover needed Honda more than Honda needed Rover, and both companies kind of knew that and took that into consideration. And then they, of course, had disagreements over decision making, as most companies do. So, was this alliance successful for Rover? What did Rover gain out of this? They did have better quality in their vehicles. Now they're working with Honda, and they did have improvement in manufacturing, and they had the access to new technology, which is what they were originally looking for. Unfortunately, they still were very financially weak. They did not make the money that they thought they would doing this, which ended up with them becoming dependent on Honda as a company. Um, and they never were able to create that long-term independence they wanted away from Honda. They were stuck with Honda. They couldn't do it on their own. So, did Honda have some successes? Of course, what Honda wanted, they got out of this deal. They got a bigger European presence, a huge increase in sales because they were now expanded to Europe. Um, they learned about the consumer preferences in Europe. So basically, exactly what they wanted from this deal they got. And it was a low investment risk for them. They really had nothing to lose. They were doing great. They kind of just took Rover under their wing to get what they wanted, and they got it. I will say Rover's financial hardships did limit what Honda could do, but not a crazy amount. So in the end, I think Honda got the better end of this deal. They were definitely more successful in it than Rover was. The BMW acquisition. So BAE was selling Rover to BMW, a good decision. In my opinion, it was probably one of the best decisions they could make. It was a great strategic decision. Uh, Rover needed more investment than BAE was willing to provide. BAE wasn't even really wanting to focus on cars or car development at the time. They wanted to focus on other adventures, so it just didn't make sense for them to even, still focus on Rover at the time anyway, or to even have it. BMW offered kind of what Honda did. They offered more technology and more capital. They also offered a long-term commitment, which no one else had done before. Honda, it was just kind of an agreement, and BAE didn't really care. They needed something that they knew they could sustain long term, and BMW was offering that. Should the Rover executives be more involved in finding a new owner? Yes, like when you're an executive, you know the day-to-day operations of your company, and this can help make the transition process a lot smoother. If you kind of just sell your company and then drop off, it could be a huge mess, as no one really knows what's going on and how to fix it. So I think that executives should be involved, especially in the selling and finding of a new owner and finding someone you trust with the company that you help build. These are my sources. Thank you.